Oh, oh, okay. I was just chatting quietly with Apple here. Sorry you couldn't hear. I was telling her that she really is kind of a mess. She needs grooming very badly. But she explained to me that it's because of Sherlock, and she plays with him because that's the duty of a mother, and he kind of claws and bites at her coat, and she looks a little messy. But we'll get you pretty looking. Don't worry. Uh, Little guy is taking a nap right now, so Apple is being gracious enough to appear with me. But welcome to episode 12 of
The Reader.
12 episodes. Wow. So let's get right to it. We've got some questions here. Our first question comes from Lauren and Lily. They ask, is it better to have a pair of Cavaliers rather than just one? Well, actually, it kind of sounds fair. One for Lauren, one for Lily. But I don't think that's what they're getting at. I think, a lot of people ask me that question. Should I get two Cavaliers? Well, it's really kind of hard for me to answer objectively. I have had Cavaliers for the last 44 years, and most of the time, by far, is with more than one. There were some rare occasions where we only had one, but most of the time we have two, three, four, who knows. So I will not be totally objective when I say, boy, it's wonderful to have more than one. I can tell you that Cavaliers are among the dogs who are known as companion animals, and that is their purpose in life. And so they have a good social structure and a good social sense. And so they get along well, not just with humans, but with other dogs, other Cavaliers, even other pets like cats and so on. So it's not a problem. You do have double the cost. Don't forget, if you have two Cavaliers, you're going to have double vet costs, double food costs, and anything else that goes along with having a dog. But it does kind of come in handy because if you are not in the house all day long, I am, but not exactly all day long every day, but I'm home quite a bit. If you're not home all the time, then the dogs do have each other to keep each other company. And the big caution is that if you do get more than one Cavalier, you should allow at least a year, maybe two, in between getting one puppy and getting the next. The reason is very simple. If they're brought into your household together, at the same age especially, and most especially if they are litter mates, they will bond with each other more than they're going to bond with you. And after all, what you want is a dog that's going to bond with you. Like Apple did when she just walked away from me. What did I do? I took a shower today. Our next question comes from a user named User. We've talked to you before. User actually has two questions, taking advantage of our Ask One, Get One free offer that you must have been made aware of. The first question is, what do I do about my 6-month-old puppy eating poop? Well, eating poop is something that we do find kind of disgusting. Dogs actually don't find it all that disgusting. It is perfectly normal for a Cavalier, for example, like Apple, who is just out of the picture over here, but she's near me. You could come next to me if you want. No. Anyway, it's perfectly normal for a dog that has had a litter, because part of the job of the mother is to clean up and stimulate the puppies to do their peeing and pooping. So the mother is accustomed to eating the poop of the puppies, and that's something that will stick with them. Although Apple doesn't really show any real propensity toward eating poop other than cleaning up after her puppy. Sometimes a dog will eat poop because the food that they're getting is not proper for them. So you might try a change of diet. You might not be feeding enough, but please be careful. You don't want your dog to get overweight, puts too much strain on the heart. But if your dog is especially skinny, not getting the right nutritional needs, a change of diet could help. There are products you can buy that you give to a dog that they say makes the poop taste bad. I think it tastes bad already, but that's me. In any case, you could do that, and it supposedly does deter the dog from eating its poop. But if you have more than one dog in the household, you'll have to give it to all of them so that all the poop tastes the same. But I hate to state the obvious. The most effective way of preventing your dog from eating poop is to be there with them when they take care of their potty needs outside. Have a little baggie with you and pick up the poop immediately. And now, the second question from user. The question is, the white fur on my puppy's paws is turning red. Why is it? What can I do? Well, there are a number of causes, and not only am I not a veterinarian, but I haven't seen the dog, so it's impossible for me to actually make a determination as to what's causing that. Probably the most common cause of white fur turning brown, red, or reddish brown is from secretions. The dogs, they secrete things like tears, saliva, even their poop and pee. And those secretions contain something called porphyrins. The porphyrins contain iron, and iron will stain the dog's white fur. Now, if the secretion that's causing this red staining is the saliva, that means your dog might be licking its paws excessively. That could actually be a symptom of some other problem, maybe an allergy or an injury or something that's causing the dog to pay too much attention to those paws. So you have to pay close attention to that possibility. The porphyrins also can attract bacteria or yeast. Yeast infections are a common cause of staining also. And if it's a yeast infection, there are treatments, topical and medical, that you can give to your dog that would fix that. So there are a number of causes. I would probably make it worth my while to make a small visit to the vet, talk to the vet about it, and see what you can find out. Our fourth question from our third questioner is from Tabitha, but lots of other people have asked the same question of me. What do I do about my dog if he or she is a fussy eater? I actually think the solution is very, very simple. This is a fix that I have used every single time I've had a dog that was a fussy eater, didn't want to finish its food, or was too slow and wanted to save it for 3 hours later or whatever. Very, very simple. First, make sure that you feed your dog in a crate or some sort of confinement. It's only for a brief period of time. It's not cruel. It actually focuses the dog's attention on the food. If you have more than one dog, it prevents one dog from stealing another dog's food. I mean, they do that. If my wife is around, I try to steal her food sometimes. But she won't feed me in a crate, so hey, that's what happens. In any case, the dog should most likely be in a crate or a confined area to eat. And you should have established a routine of feeding at the same time every day. Our dogs get fed at 6 p.m. every day. They can tell time. They know when it's 6 o'clock and it's time to eat. And give them a specified amount of time. So if your dog's a fussy eater and doesn't finish the food, give the dog a reasonable amount of time, let's say 20 minutes, to finish the food. If the dog does not finish the food in that specified time, take it away. And that is the end of feeding the dog. No extra treats, no extra meals, no trying to compensate for what they didn't eat. until the next regular mealtime. So 6 o'clock rolls around the next day. If my dog didn't eat one day, they get the food taken, or whatever they leave is taken away from them, and 6 o'clock the next day they get a regular meal. If they eat that regular meal, which most of the time they will, then we've kind of solved the problem. If not, give them the 20 minutes, repeat it. I have never, ever, ever seen a dog starve itself, to not just starve itself to death, but to any degree where it could be dangerous or unhealthy for the dog not eating. They are instinctively motivated to give themselves sufficient food. Before I get to the last question, I did want to, I thank everybody who is a regular viewer of my YouTube channel for your concern about the fact that I was stupid enough to slice up my leg with a chainsaw a couple of weeks ago. So I thought you deserved a progress report. Here's a picture of what the leg looked like less than an hour after the incident happened. This was at the urgent care center, and you could see it was bleeding profusely. It was a deep cut. It was right down to the edge of the muscle layer. Fortunately, I didn't cut the muscle, and it did require 12 stitches. Now, after the stitches have been taken out, here's what it looks like right now. I'm going to walk up there and show you. Now you can see it's healing quite nicely. I mean, you might think I just got a little nasty scrape there. It was nasty, but it wasn't little. So you can see, like, the human body is kind of amazing that it heals like that. It doesn't really look all that bad right now. So the last question comes from Swimmy, another person we have heard from before. And Swimmy would like a demonstration for dummies on how to stack a dog if you're showing the dog at a dog show. Well, sorry, I don't do things for dummies. I only give instructions for smarties. But I'm going to move outside, even though it's an awful, humid day. I'm going to move outside. I'm going to enlist Apple's help, and we'll show you how to stack the dog. You will presumably have your dog on a lead. At the other end of this lead, you can't see it, is Apple. And I'm going to walk around to the opposite side of the table. The judge will be standing about where the camera is right now. And I am going to very carefully pick up Apple with my hands under her chest and under her backside. I place her on the table. Now, we try to get to the edge of the table. Let me move this over. I would not do this in the show ring, but I'll do it now. I want to get her to the edge of the table, and I can just walk her up there. You want the lead out of your way. I just drape it over my neck like this. I get her to the edge of the table. It's not really as hard as you think because the dog only has 4 points of support. And if you get those 4 points in the right place, then it's all solved. And those 4 points are, of course, the 4 legs. So, the left front leg I place using my left hand over her body so I don't go across her face. And the right front leg I position next to it with my right hand. I do that so that the paws are about that far apart. And she just moved, so no problem correcting it. The dog is not being judged on behavior, so you don't have to worry if the dog doesn't stand still all that well. Then we go to the rear legs. I want to make sure that the pasterns back here are vertical, absolutely vertical. And that those paws are also not too close to each other, but not too far apart. Now, you'll notice she fidgets. I can get her attention by having some bait, which of course I don't have right now, and she knows. I have some bait maybe to attract her. And once I get all 4 paws in the right place, I can just gently take hold of the lead, which you'll notice is loose. And I have her attention. I keep her head at a nice angle so that it's pleasant for the judge to see. Once the judge walks up to the table, very simple, your job is to stay out of his or her way. Period. That's it. So when the judge walks up to look at the dog's head, I drop back here. Then the judge is going to have her attention. When the judge comes around to examine the rest of her body, I'll come up here so that I'm out of the judge's way. I can use bait to get her attention while the judge is back there. A lot of judges don't particularly care for a lot of bait used in the ring, so you have to be careful. And especially a lot of judges don't like it if they are at her head examining her, and imagine the judge's head is right here and I'm doing this behind his or her head. They don't like that, and it's really kind of not polite, so I wouldn't bother with that. And finally, don't worry if the dog moves and the judge repositions the paws. It's not going to count against you or the dog. The judge really wants to just see the best qualities of the dog. And in order to see those best qualities, they have to have them in the correct position. So it's just a matter of trying to see the best in your dog. So that's a very quick summary. There are a lot of little fine points that you can, like how do you get the dog's tail to stick out at the correct angle, and exactly how wide do the paws have to be, facing in which direction, so on. And, we could get into that, but I think that's a good place for you to start. Well, I hope you found all that informative. And Apple, come. Apple, come here. Come here. And we want to thank Apple for her cooperation in allowing us to show how to stack a dog. You're very good. And I'm going to get her back into the show ring in a couple of weeks because she's a beautiful girl. So, if you have any other questions, feel free to drop them in our comments section. And we'll see you at the next issue of
Ask the Breeder.